meet you at Kathmandu International Airport and you will be transferred to hotel where you will have time to freshen up and relax. Kathmandu Airport is together of international and domestic. In the season of tourism, there are many international and domestic flights operating in different sectors, which is more than capacity of small Tribhuvan airport. Lukla flights are only at morning times and it does not fly during daytime due to heavy weather and foggy weather on the way to Lukla. The flights are from Ramechhap. There is no issue of air trafficking and the flight duration is also less from Kathmandu. Explore the color of Kathmandu on the half-day city tour. Our guide will collect you from accommodation in Kathmandu to visit Buddha Stupa. Bodhanath is the largest spiritual stupa in Nepal, located in Bodha, in the eastern about 11 km from the center and northeastern outskirts of Kathmandu. Bodha was named after the establishment of Bodhanath Stupa. As of 1979, Bodhanath is the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Along with Swambhunath, it is one of the most popular tourist sites in Kathmandu area. Surrounded by hill, Bodha Stupa is a jewel point in the center of natural mandala, a store of sacred energy. It is a center of Tibet culture in Kathmandu and is rich in Buddhist symbolism. So after half day of city tour, our clients leave for Ramechhap at around 3 p.m. Since they left late for Ramechhap, by the time they get there, it was 9 p.m. They ate dinner and slept. As usual, my clients were expecting a flight to Lukla and the starts of trekking. But when they reached Manthali airport, they found that there were no flights to Lukla since October 6. Even the helicopters were not landed. More than 15,000 tourists were stuck at Manthali airport. So they were stuck there for 4 days. We tried to convince them that we should go to Annapurna or Langtang area, but they are so determined to do Everest trekking that they refused and waited. We are so amazed to see their vote. They danced, sang, and kept themselves busy.
Rồi. Vô chị, vô. Hai.
On the 6th day, after 4 days of waiting, suddenly the weather is super clear. We finally fly to Lukla today. This trek takes us from the village of Lukla, which is at the modest height of 2,860 meters. Lining the street of Lukla, it is common to see porter offering their services. But most of the people visiting this area who have organized by now. Lukla have varieties of shop and lodges where one can have basic Western meal and pick up last-minute item for trekking or climbing ahead. People usually avoid meat from here onwards, as there is no cold storage and possibility of sick stomach is high. The journey from Lukla to Phakding should take between 2 to 3 hours, going at a slow and steady pace. The trail starts from the gentle climbing up the mountainside on the left bank of Dingboche river, which provides a lovely view. There is well-worn path step leading upwards and downwards. By the time you reach Phakding, you will be almost 200 meters lower than where you were at Lukla. Your fitness level. The journey from Phakding starts off easy, following the Dingboche river valley below, and above all, you are surrounded by the rhododendron forest. There are several small villages along the way to stop for some food or drinks. As you leave Monjo in the direction of Namche, you enter what is known as Sagarmatha National Park. To enter here, foreigners have to buy a ticket and fill out a form, and they will have to show their passport here and provide passport-size photos. Several times, you have to use this suspension bridge to cross Dingboche river. The locals have decorated the side of the bridge with praying flags. On the far side of this bridge, there is a village known as Jorsalle. There are no shops after this village, and it is advised to stock of waters and food. A short walk past Jorsalle, there is a suspension bridge to cross, and after this, the trek gets surprisingly difficult. The walk to Namche is very stiff and continuous upward. There is no level or downward walking. This section of walk may take 2 or more hours. People of average fitness may find they can walk several minutes only, then need a short break to catch a breath. At this altitude, your body will know the lack of oxygen in the air. It will be specifically noticed when you attempt things like running upstairs, exert your body in any way. As you reach Namche, you have to pass police checkpoint. Here, they will ask to see the tickets you have purchased at the entry of the Sagarmatha National Park. Namche Bazaar is the most important town in Khumbu region, the land of Sherpa people. This is located at 3,440 meters above the sea level. After the difficulty of last day, the rest day in Namche is well deserved. But the idea behind the rest or acclimatization day is to climb high during the day, then sleep low. This will help your body adjust the altitude more easily. The most common walk to take in the rest day is the Everest View Hotel. From here, on the clear day, there is spectacular view of Mount Everest. This hole will take only 2 hours, leaving a plenty of time to explore Namche Bazaar. Looking from a distance, it looks like a second-hand cloth market with everything spread out on the ground. But in fact, the most of the goods you find here are new limitation climbing gear. There is a big difference between tourist price and local price. So if you want to buy something here, have a guide or porter. Get them purchased for you. Almost everything you might need for the trek ahead can be brought here in the street of Namche Bazaar. The walk from Namche to Tengboche will take 5 to 7 hours. It begins with very steep and tiring walk up out of the valley. There is a large number of construction taking place in Namche with many new lodges being built. The sound of stone being cut is quickly replaced by the sound of wind blowing over the trees and the charming sound of yak bells. Tengboche Monastery can be seen in a distance in a clear day as well as Mount Everest. After about 20 minutes walking, the ground level of you will find your pain increase. After an hour or 2 level of easy, you have to walk down the hill, losing much of the altitude you gain the last day. You can use this old bridge to cross the river, but the altitude that was lost will now begin with tough 2 hours upward walking. Most of the people will stop here and have lunch before attempting their final push to Tengboche. The lack of oxygen is rarely noticeable at this stage. Only the Sherpa seems to be able to scale the steep hill at reasonable pace. Everyone else chooses to take slow and steady. Tengboche village is located at the altitude of 3,867 meters. In the village, there is the most important Buddhist monastery, the largest one in Khumbu region. The structure was built in 1923 but was destroyed by fire in 1989. It was rebuilt by the volunteer and provision of foreign aid. From here, there is a great view of Everest and Hamadablang. All the traffic heading to Everest pass through Tengboche, so it is a great place to relax and watch all the yaks, protters and trekkers going out to their business. Overall, it is an easy but a long day trekking with the journey taking up to 6 hours. At this altitude, many people suffer mild headache and shortness of breath. The village of Dingboche is located at Chokong Valley at an altitude of 4,530 meters. Trekker will usually spend 2 nights in Dingboche for acclimatization purposes. The village rely heavily on tourists with the large empty area comprising most of Dingboche. The river flows directly east of the village. Most of the people choose the rest day hanging around the village or hike to the Merak Peak. They start off with a steep climb up to the edge of the hill, providing a great view down into the Chukung village with Island Peak visible at the end. Most people take a short break here and prepare themselves to a long march ahead. Today's walk takes 6 hours and more depending on how the altitude affects. As you walk along the side of the valley, if you look down to the left at the base, you can see a small valley called Feruche. There is medical center in Feruche where emergency can be treated. For minor illness, there is a fixed charge for foreigner. This charge enable the doctor to be able to treat the local for free. Most of the walk today is long, relatively level ground. There are few signs of civilization along this route. So if you need to refresh with a drink or food, do so at the nearest available shop. For the last hours or two, the ground became steep and rocky until you reach a small valley called Lobuche. Compared to the places like Dingboche or Tengboche, there is not really much here. 2 or 3 lodges and camping area make up Lobuche. The village is quite exposed and the high wind can cause lots of dust blow around the village. Because of this, most trekkers choose to relax indoor. The number of trekkers passing through this village can vary greatly, and it is common to be there no accommodation available. Guests may be asked to share rooms with stranger or even sleep in the dining floor. There is no way around this as the nearest lodge as many are a walk away. Today's walk is for a little over 5 kilometers. It doesn't sound like much, but at this altitude, it may take anywhere around 5 or even 6 hours. There is no clear path and you have to walk over loose rock which added the difficulty. The small village of Gorekshep is actually the origin of base camp for the climbers who are heading towards the summit of the Everest. This village is located at the base of a peak called Kalapatar, which appears to be a big brown bump below the impressive south face of Pumari. Many trekkers in this region of Mount Everest will attempt to summit Kalapatar, since it provides most accessible point to view Mount Everest base camp to the peak. Due to the structure of the Everest, the peak cannot be seen from the base camp. Walk from Gorekshep to Everest base camp will take 3 to 4 hours, which is difficult and dangerous. There is several crashes of helicopters in base camp region because the air is so thin at this altitude. Landing and taking off can be difficult. Unlike the rest of the trek, there is no path to follow here. So, it is not recommended to attempt this without an experienced guide. The journey takes us over the Khumbu Glacier, finally ending at the base of Khumbu Icefall. You can say you are at base camp when you are looking up to Khumbu Icefall. The icefall is regarded as one of the most dangerous stages of the South Pole route to summit Everest. Because we had a bad weather at the beginning of our trek, 4 days were wasted waiting for a good weather. So to match with the itinerary, we had to take a helicopter to Kathmandu.